It's the renal sinus. The sinus is filled with the renal pelvis. The pelvis is made from the calyxes that we talked about yesterday, and they all drain into the renal pelvis. The pelvis is in a continuum with the ureter or the ureter. Now this is the only part of this that's difficult, okay? Am I in the hilus, the sinus, the pelvis? What the, you gotta just understand them, okay? So the hilus and the sinus are a continuum, but they're not made out of anything. They're just space. They're just space. The renal pelvis is made out of tissue, and it's filled with urine. And that urine drains into the ureter or ureter and goes down, down, down to the urinary bladder, where it exits in a one-way valve. See, I'm in front of you again.
So if you're in the renal pelvis, then you're automatically in the renal sinus. That's what you're saying?
No, the whole pelvis is in the renal sinus, but the sinus is space. It's just a space, just like the hills. Yes, the pelvis is in the sinus. It's defined as filling the renal sinus. The renal sinus is filled with the renal pelvis. Okay, that's the way this operates. Okay, so that's why the pelvis really should be up. I keep meaning to change it, but I just have a hard time remembering. Okay, that's just, maybe it's just as well. That way I make a big deal out of it. Now, when we look at a kidney, and this is true for the adrenal gland as well, these structures have a collagenous wrap around them. This wrapping is called a capsule. So the adrenal gland, we've already said it had a capsule. That might be on your test on Tuesday when we come back. I'll have to work on that test. Now that I'm going to have some extra days, so I can make it extra fun. Yeah. Wow, that was smooth. Yeah, Bird, that was smooth. That was smooth. All right, now when we look at our kidney is subdivided into pyramids. How cool is that? The Great Pyramid of Gaza. Well, that's not in your kidney, okay? But the kidney is divided into pyramids that are the functional units. So we don't have lobules in the kidney. We have pyramids, okay? These pyramids that are in our kidney are the only part of the kidney that has medullary or medulla in it. Now this organ is the only organ in which the medullary is surrounded by cortical. Now this is just weird. Now I cannot really begin to explain how strange this is. But what we find, so we have the glomerular capillary bed, where oxygen gas is not lost in a capillary bed. It's just alien to the way we think, okay? But it's the only one. When we look at the pyramids, it's very nice. I mean, like I said, it's very, very nice modeling. And you can see the pyramids, or you can look at these pyramids as little snow-capped mountains, too. But they call them pyramids, so we got to use pyramids. But anyway, as we look at these, we see that the cortex, which is deep to the capsule, continues all the way down, and it fills the space between the medulla of the pyramids. So the cortex, by definition, is supposed to be the outer wrapping, right? Right. But in this case, in our kidney, the cortex goes down and separates the pyramids all the way through the medulla area, all the way down to the calyxes. You looking at the picture?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what you're saying.
Okay, well, let's keep thinking. Keep thinking. These are called the renal columns, and they were named by a guy named Bertini. I think he was Sicilian. But anyway, never go up against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
You really love Princess Bride, don't you?
Well, I haven't seen it in a while. Probably watch it while Michael and Rachel and the kids are here. But anyway, so this is just weird. This is peculiar, and this is the way to help remember stuff. If it's different from everything else, that should make it easy to remember. Okay? So these are renal columns, and they're made out of cortical materials. The same things, the same stuff. Same stuff. Cortex, 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 cortex.
But that's also the renal cortex?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes, that's okay. You said you were thinking about it, and now you got it. So that's good. Okay. So these are called renal columns to delineate between the cortical portions that are in the cortex of the organ itself. Okay. All right. Now let's see. The medulla is the dark material.
Wait,
Go to page
hold on.
6. It's
Oh,
On
wow.
this thing, it says that there's a renal cortex, and then it also says renal column.
That's what I just said. It delineates between them.
So it's
That's all the same core material, though. It's
Okay.
cortical material.
okay.
But you really can't call it cortex if it's in the medulla. So we make a special name.
Here's the columns coming
Okay.
down.
Okay.
That's all that's
It's
for.
the same picture. It's just not translated. The only thing on this side is the adrenal glands. It's the exact same.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have the other model too. It doesn't have the adrenal gland, but I like having the adrenal gland because it puts everything in context. Okay. Now, the only area that medulla is found is in the pyramid. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Okay. So each pyramid then has the cortex and medulla in it. Okay. Now the snow-capped pyramid is made out of the most distal aspect of collecting ducts. That's what these are. So each one of these little snow-capped pyramids is made of the distal portion of the collecting ducts. So dripping out of the snow-capped pyramid is the actual urine. The urine. The urine drips into a minor calyx. They combine to make a major calyx, and the major calyxes form the renal pelvis, which is in the renal sinus, which is in continuum with the hip. Yes, thank you. With the hilus. See, thank you. Definitely have it. Okay. We've already done the ureters. Now this should say urinary bladder. That's a mistake. Bladder is a generic term. This is not a generic term. This is a specific bladder. So it is the urinary. Okay. Now, we don't have a really big bladder, okay? And if you need to urinate, that might definitely be true for you right now. Just a little humor there. And so, you gotta fight when you can. Yeah. Don't die anyway. So, as we look here at this bladder, we see that this is a smooth muscle organ. Now that's a good thing, so that it can stretch. Remember, right on the board over there, you see the word plasticity. You remember learning that in 210. We're all going to experience this on Thursday. The plasticity of your stomach. Because as you eat that large Thanksgiving meal, hopefully you're going to have one. If you don't, call me and you can come eat with me.
Oh,
That was nice.
that was really
Are you serious?
That negated what you just said. Yes, I mean that.
Okay.
I bought a huge 18-pound turkey. I think I'm going to buy a ham today too and cook a ham and a turkey tomorrow.
Honey,
I don't like cooking on Thanksgiving Day. I mean, they can cook the pies and all that kind of stuff, but I hate cleaning the turkey. So I want to clean the turkey on Wednesday so I don't have to clean it on Thursday. Actually, I think I'm going to get my older son to clean the turkey. Ooh,
Make him
that's
earn
that.
$1,400.
Say what?
To make him earn the $1,400
Yeah,
plane
for-
tickets.
Well, he paid half.
Oh.
He paid half. I haven't put the check in the bank yet, but it's out in my car in my checkbook. But he paid half. Yes, I was very proud of him. That was very good. What were we doing? Oh yes.
The turkey.
you're telling
turkey.
us you're getting here.
So your stomach. We're talking about smooth muscle. The smooth muscle of the digestive tube exhibits plasticity. Because, remember, actin and myosin in smooth muscle don't have to have a zone of overlap. You can stretch those cells, and then the myosins that are scattered throughout the cells can grab a hold of any of the actins that are attached to the dense bodies. It doesn't matter. That's really cool, really. And if you've had a kid, okay, that uterus, okay, is that thick when you're not filled in with a baby. And it's that thick when it's got a baby in it. That's how much it stretches. Okay, that's why when the contractions happen, something's got to occur. And we'll talk about this in the next couple of weeks. Something's got to happen because that baby, when it gets to a certain size and you have a certain strength of contraction, either the baby comes out or the uterine wall is ripped open, and that's a very bad thing. But anyway, let's take this apart. Now, when we look inside, we see that this is a male urinary bladder. The prostate is attached here to this model because it's a male model. But that's not part of what we're doing right now. As we look at this, we see rugae, rugae, rugae. Okay, so there are lots of rugae inside. Now, those are going to function very similarly to what we have in our stomach. Okay, those rugae spread out as we put more and more turkey. Remember, you're going to be drowsy if you eat that big turkey meal, so you might as well just plan on taking a nap. Okay, because of all the tryptophan and all the melatonin you're going to be making. Okay. So I read a little book to one of the granddaughter is 3, so I kind of embellished the little story about Thanksgiving. And of course, my son, I did that to my kids too. And you know, that's not the way Daddy read that. Or sometimes I said some things too that I probably shouldn't have about it, but that's okay. So yeah. As we look inside, we can see where the ureters or ureters come down into the urinary bladder. Now there are 3 tubes that are hooked up to the urinary bladder. A left and right ureter or ureter, and the urethra. The urethra. Now the ureters have a one-way valve, okay, that you can see on the model, but you can't actually see it, but you can see where it is. So this is where the one-way valve is for the left ureter, okay? And it's just a little crack in the plastic there, but that's what that is, okay? Now, the areas that the tube's attached to have a smooth, non-rugy area. A smooth, non-rugy area called the trigone. The trigone. Good.
I have bladder issues, so
Oh, really?
I get really bad kidney infections because I got hospitalized with one with my son.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, my mother had that problem all the way up until when she died. and she would get these really bad UTIs. And a couple of times they go up into the kidney.
Mine's not E. coli, I get strep,
Mm.
so it's a different form of bacteria, which is why they hospitalize me.
Well, there are a bunch of them, and they're almost all opportunistic. If you give them the opportunity, they will cause infection. Now, oh, look. It's got the, we'll have to get another model. No, let's wait. We'll do the penile for when we do reproduction. So we're not going to do, don't worry, it'll be on the test altogether. But we'll do the prostatic, membranous, and spongy urethra when we look at the male model, okay? Because this is not enough. This has the prostatic, you can see that, and you can see the ducts of the prostate that allow the fluid to come out as well. But that's, we'll wait and look at that with the other, when we do reproduction. Okay, oh, good. Now we need to do the arteries and the veins. Now, before we do these, we need to review a couple of terms. First of all, the word arcuate. Arcuate means like a bow. Like a bow. You remember the arcuate line of the ilium portion of the os coxa bone that we did in 210. Okay? So we're going to have some blood vessels that are shaped like a bow. The second thing that we